One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey everybody, I had to start a little bit early tonight because I have a whole show planned for you. However, found out late in the early evening actually that what's her name? Laura Ingraham has part 2 of her interview with President Trump. So she's due to come on, let's say, any second now. 7 o'clock is her roll time. And at that point, when she comes on, we're going to take the first part. We'll actually take her interview with President Trump. And then I'll give you a little bit of what I have put together for you guys. And then at the jump over, I hope the jump over, let's say we jump over by 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit sooner. That's where we're going to show the movie The Big Short. Which ties into what I'm going to be talking to you guys about as well. The movie is an hour and 50 minutes long. It's riveting. You won't want to miss a second of it. I kind of got a different attire tonight because it actually got cold here in South Florida. We woke up this morning, it was like 39 degrees, 46 degrees by like 8:30. And it's a balmy 59 right now. But it's all good because tomorrow it'll be 75. We'll be right back to where we're supposed to be. So she's going to be coming on in any second. So hold on. I didn't know she was going to be doing a part 2. Somebody mentioned it in the chat that that's what was going to happen. So what you're going to see right now is a preview basically of what I'm going to be doing when I get into our fully built studio, where I can be talking about some content, and if something happens on one of the news networks, I can click a button and bring that in, and we can watch that together as well. So tonight we're going to have Laura Ingraham, as she's going to be talking about, she's going to have her second part of the interview with Donald Trump. Let's listen in and see what she has to say. Hold on one second. Let me just make sure this is all set to go. And I'm wondering why I'm not hearing anything. Testing 1, 2, 3. I can hear. Let's see what happens. Is she going to go right into it at 7 o'clock? It's 7 o'clock now. Fox is getting ready to do the toss. And let's see if she jumps right into it. And if she does, we will take it from there. So enjoy the second part of the interview with Donald Trump coming up momentarily. How you doing, boomers? We're all boomers, aren't we? I know there's a lot of boomers in our chat. I'm going to talk to you about that after she's done with the interview. Not shying away from being a boomer. All right, here we go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you for spending time with us. And we have part 2 of our exclusive interview with President Trump coming up. We're going to go behind the scenes of some of the White House renovations.
The White House will finally have, after 150 years, the ballroom that they wanted. It'll be beautiful, one of the most beautiful in the world.
That's coming up in a bit. But first, rate.
All right, so she's going to do her stuff. I'm going to keep my eye on it, so I'll get into my stuff. And I'm going to be watching this, so as soon as she cuts to him, I will cut to him. One of the problems that you guys may be seeing online, and it's all over the place, and people are panicking. I call them, and other people call them, panicins. President Trump calls them panicins. I'm going to add another descriptor to them. I'm going to call them grifter panicins. I'm talking about people who are profiting in panic. People are making money on clicks and likes and views based upon panic. There's something just completely wrong with what I'm seeing, how people are turning their back on President Trump so quickly. You've seen them. The other part of the problem I'm seeing is that many of these same people are blaming me and you. People who are boomers. And they're using the term boomer like it's some sort of, bad word. It's an insult. I had posted something earlier, and I want to show this to you as I'm watching what's going on here. And I posted this. Are we supposed to be embarrassed because we are products of this generation? This generation meaning those are the people who were obviously in Iwo Jima. Are we supposed to be embarrassed because we're products of these people? As we celebrate Veterans Day today, let me say that I am proud to be a boomer, and I am proud that you are a boomer, and I am not going to shy away or tuck tail or let these people get away with pointing at us as the reason for their problems. They can go stick it, as far as I'm concerned. I will wear the name not as an insult, but as a tribute to the men and women who made my life possible. Be a proud boomer. I want you to be a proud boomer. As you see some prominent people on X, prominent podcasters out there who are doing everything they possibly can to gin up all kinds of negative things and rest it at our feet. I'm not sorry. I am not sorry that my father was an entrepreneur back in the 60s, and a black entrepreneur, and a legal immigrant. And he came across, as I've told you many times before, came in from Jamaica and became a legal immigrant, did all the right things, started a construction company, and he instilled in me at a young age to do what you have to do to make the kind of life that you want to make. And that man also happened to be a vet, as many of your fathers and mothers, well, I don't know about your moms, but your fathers were as well. So today on Veterans Day, for me to say that being a boomer is wrong would be basically spitting in my dad's face. Everything that I do now, everything that I've learned over the course of my lifetime, let me just check this, is because I was brought up to be a certain way. You were brought up to be a certain way. Why would we feel ashamed at that? Why would we turn our backs and say, oh yeah, we're boomers, we did the wrong thing. We should have never done what we've done. We should have never accomplished what we've accomplished. We should never have started businesses. It's sickening to me to see all of this happening by people that you probably trusted a week or two ago, who are now pointing fingers at you and saying, you're not welcome here. You are a boomer. You shut the door behind you. I can't speak for everybody. That's the last thing I did. I never shut any door behind me. I try to pull as many people up as possible. It's easy to look at Google Trends and see what people are looking at and then jump on it. And I don't think these people have any idea what they're doing to their audiences and their brand, because they look like little kids. They're screaming because they're not able, for whatever reason, to seize upon the opportunities that we were bred to take. I didn't buy houses because it just was the thing to do. I bought them because my father, going out with him and watching him construct stuff, I'm like, okay, this is what the family business is going to be. I'm going to learn. I watched how he did things. I watched how he got funded by a little Jewish chicken farmer. And Mr. Siegel was his name. Mr. Siegel bankrolled my father. He took a shot on him. And I was taught how to how to make sure that relationship between an entrepreneur and an investor is protected. Even if it means you don't make any money right now, the investor has to get his equity, his dividend, because he's the one who took the shot on you. You're also taught to live within your means. I'm going to tell you something that's really hard for this generation to understand. You're not good enough. Period. I've mentioned here before about the whole participation trophy thing and how we spoiled an entire generation of kids of thinking it's equal, it's equity. Everybody gets the same stuff. No. If you can't run as fast, you're not as strong, if you're not as smart, you are not going to get to those situations where you can seize opportunity. Doesn't mean you never will. It means you need to work on running faster, work on being stronger, and work on being smarter. Not just throwing your hands up in the air and go, he's faster, he's smarter, he's stronger. Nobody is stopping any of these kids, none of them, from achieving another level. I saw some guy say something stupid today. He said, my parents, their first home was $100,000. You can't buy a house for $100,000 now. Well, first of all, you're full of crap. But number two, you also can't buy nickel hamburgers at McDonald's. What's your point? We are in a different era, different things. If you expect that you're going to be able to buy a Mustang for $2,500 like we could back in 1968, you're an idiot. You're not saying anything of benefit. It's just commiserating with other people who have no idea what to do with their lives. Because, yes, and I will say it, because of the choices that they have made. It's absolutely disgusting to me. I posted this as well, and I wanted you guys to make sure you saw it. As it seems, many Trump supporters are jumping ship and creating infighting with, quote, boomers, which is a big demographic of Trump supporters. I am a so-called boomer, and I will be holding the line with Trump. It's ride or die, no flip-flop happening here. The whiners, complainers, and weak-kneed can step off. Boomers don't run and hide. Every one of you who's a boomer, you know that to be true. You do not run and hide. You've never run and hid. Even if some of you got divorced, you got back on your feet, you did what you needed to do. The things that were instilled in us is what's missing from a lot of these kids. See, they were told, you don't need a man. They were told, you don't need a family. They were told they were sold a bill of goods that they cannot cash in on now. It's their problem, not yours and not mine. I am going to continue to prosper. I am going to continue to invest. I am going to continue to profit with a big ass smile on my face. I am never, ever going to apologize for seizing on opportunity. You're watching some of that seizing right now. I know as they decide to push away people don't want to hear themselves be denigrated. They want to see you embracing. And who better to embrace boomers but another boomer himself? And I feel like it's time for a pep talk because all we hear is crap online. You are good. You have lived to be a boomer. That's another thing. That's a whole other accomplishment. You got that far. You are able to get to be able to say that you are a boomer. Applaud yourself. Applaud the others. Not just use us as excuses for their inadequacies. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make us be responsible for their inadequacies, their insecurities. Instead of just saying, as many of them should probably be doing right now, how? See, it's almost too late for some of them. There are going to be ditch diggers. Well, they're going to be probably replaced by robots. There are going to be garbage men. There are people who happily do the job because that's what they're capable of doing. Is there anything wrong with that? Not at all. Except these younger people think that they don't deserve to be there. They don't deserve to be a server. They don't deserve to be a garbage man. They don't deserve to work for it. It should be handed to them. I don't have patience for that. Neither should you. What we're going to talk about tonight, I'm going to get into a little bit because some of this stuff is absolutely disgusting. And when we're going to see the movie, The Big Short, I'm going to tell you right now, there's some parallels happening that people who lived through and prospered through 2008 and 2009 are seeing the same signals. It may be noise, but right now it's starting to quack like a duck, starting to waddle like a duck. I hope it doesn't turn into a duck. Case in point, this got posted today. Fannie Mae is set to drop its 620 credit score minimum, and the mortgage giant will instead use analysis of other risk factors. And I posted, wait a minute, what are you saying? They're easing barriers to borrowers. Some of us have seen this movie before, which you're going to see the recap of it tonight. Some of us are going to make killing, and to think people out here talking crap about President Trump, I absolutely love my mirror foggers. Mirror foggers meaning people who don't deserve a loan, but because they can breathe and we got to help them, they're just going to give them loans. Think about how that's going to be. You're going to give people who didn't deserve to get a loan, who didn't work to get a loan, and because they're whining, you want to stick the pacifier in their mouth. What happens when you stick a pacifier in a baby's mouth? Eventually, they just get tired of it and leave it on the floor. They just walk away. What do you think people who have no skin in the game, have no tie to a property, it was given to them, they just signed a piece of paper and it says, here's your home. What do you think is going to happen? Well, you're going to see what potentially could happen. And it's funny, after I posted that, I happened to see my governor say the same thing. And that's when I knew I was on the right track. We've seen this movie before. We all know, those of us who were our age, and maybe even some young people who lived through 2008, and you realize, we've seen this. We already know the signs. And so one of the questions I would have for these, quote, anti-boomer people is, if things suck so bad, if you can't buy a house and you can't get a mortgage and you can't do anything, why the hell are you posting on X? That's not going to help you get there. I've seen some people who post 15, 20, 30 times a day. All of them about, oh my God, it's horrible out here. Oh, Trump's not doing what he's supposed to do. Well, if things aren't working out for you, maybe it's time to, I don't know, get a flip phone, one of those kind of phones where you're not having to make videos and abandon the X profile. Maybe not pay Elon Musk for the little blue check and do something about your situation. See, that's the one thing I don't understand is how are people not doing anything about their situation? Why are they whining on X? How is that going to help you? How is that going to get people to help you? I would rather, if I was in a certain situation, I would post all day, I'm looking to start a business. I'm looking to do this. Is there anybody out there who would like to invest in XYZ business? You would, since you have a platform that pretty much allows you to talk to everybody and anybody at any time of day, 24/7. I'm not saying trying to slide into their DMs, but you can talk about, hey, listen, here's something I have. I'm looking for people who would like to, get involved with me. You never know. But instead, nope, they're out there just blah, 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 screaming, oh my God, it sucks, everything's terrible. Well, you know why they're doing that? They're doing that on X because they're getting paid. There's, the whole saying about misery loves company. If I feed you the tidbits that you want, if I want to give you the self-affirmation that you need, that life sucks, then a whole bunch of people start commenting and engaging about how bad life sucks. And the more people I get engaging about how bad life sucks, the more money I make. So when these people are promoting misery, they are advocating for profit, because they know the suckers will start commiserating with them, and instead of trying to help the people, they're profiting off their misery. It's really sad. I mean, it's absolutely sad. Saw this. Here's another one. I hope I got time to get into this one before she comes back on. People are complaining about this, and once again, they're blaming us boomers. Somehow I bought my first home at 26 and I paid 18% interest. Not because my credit sucked, but because back in the 80s, that's what the interest rate was. It was 18%. It got up to 22%. Oh, how the hell did you do that? How did you buy a house with 18% interest? Oh my God, we can't afford that. The answer is because nobody told me I couldn't afford it. I went to the mortgage guy and he said, here's what you can get, and here's how much it's going to be, and here's what your payments are going to be. And I said, okay, well then what I need to do is go find the money and start getting the income to pay that mortgage. I didn't look at it as a hill. I looked at it as a cookbook. All right. This is what it's going to cost you to own a home. This is what it's going to cost you to get a down payment. This is what your monthly payment's going to be. Did I curl up in a fetal position in a closet? Nope. Wow, 18%? Well, one of the reasons why I didn't know 18% was bad. My father said, you're going to pay 18%? I'm like, I don't know. That's what he told me. Well, then you know what you got to do, was the answer he gave me. That was the answer when I went to my father and said, I'm looking at buying this house with me and my new wife. I'm going to buy this house at 18%. You've seen the music video with the band Nickelback. And as Chad from Nickelback is singing Rockstar, he's got the guy from ZZ Top in the background. And like he'd sing a verse and then the guy from ZZ Top would be, how you gonna do it? That's what the option was. My uncle's, all right, you want to buy it? How you gonna do it? It wasn't anything about, you can't. It's not available. It's over your head. How you gonna do it? And then I had to problem solve. These kids don't problem solve. They've thrown their hands up and people are taking advantage of them and they're blaming us. And I'm like, I paid 18 frickin' percent. 18% on a mortgage. How you going to do it? Well, I guess I better figure out a business plan here so I can make some more money. So I started my own. Well, I didn't start my own company. I was already working on my own business. And then I had to learn how to generate more capital. What you have to do. So let's continue with this post. Yeah, that was the interest rate. Anyone want to ask how we afforded homes back then? I just told you. We didn't look at it as a declination. Looked at it as opportunity. You can have this house. You're going to have to learn how to pay for it. Go find the money. And what they're all screaming about is this. And it's freaking them the F out. The median age of a home buyer in the United States stands at 61. Congratulations. With first-time home buyers hitting a record low of 21%, just as Trump plans to unveil a 50-year mortgage. The age of the first-time home buyer reached a record high. And here's the chart everybody was screaming about today. And the chart in the yellow is the median age of home buyers. First-time home buyers plummeted, while as the median age, first-time home buyers plummeted, while the median age of home buyers jumped up to 61 years old. And they look at that like it's a problem we created. No, we just know how to look at deals. We understand. We didn't close the door behind us. Get some. Nobody's stopping you, except yourself. But that's not what they want to hear. Followed up by something that Grant Cardone said, because here was another thing that I learned really as a young person. I learned that the house that you're going to live in, don't consider it your investment. The house that you're going to live in is your residence. That's where you're going to live. It's not meant to be something that's going to give you a big return. It's your home. And where you live as you move forward in life is going to change your perspective. If I want investment, I buy investment properties. If I want a home to live in, I decide where I'm going to live with me and Robin. Well, I want you to hear this. This is, hope we have enough time to get this entire thing in.
The American dream isn't a headline. It's not a handout or a hashtag. It's a porch light left on, a flag out front. It's what you earn through hard work and what you're free to build when your leaders put you first. I've never forgotten that. From day one, I fought for the American worker. To protect our homes, our families, we built a strong economy. So every American could plant roots, not just the privileged few, the Sunday dinners, the backyard ball games, the pride of owning a piece of this incredible nation. That's what we're fighting to protect. That's the spirit we're bringing back. And behind it all, we've got great partners, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, helping families turn hard work into home ownership, helping Americans turn dreams into something lasting, something truly their own. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, keepers of the American dream.
So that was something I found that President Trump had put out. And I noticed one of the words in there, earned. Earned, not given. It's a big difference. Somebody put up a comment in the chat. I'm still watching to make sure she hasn't come on. And it says, Barry, maybe it's hard for first-time home buyers because people in your world pay over market value for houses like normal people buy socks. You'll make a ton, and even more people won't get their home. Man, that's a lot of assumptions. You're wrong. you're dead freaking wrong. Why in the hell would I pay over market? You're exposing yourself when you say stuff like that. People like you will pay over market. Well, I'm pretty sure Beth and Ashley will tell you about the property I just bought, and it wasn't anywhere near market. See, you're making excuses instead of having information. Accusing people of buying over market. In what world would I overpay? In what world would I buy this silver over market? What world do you exist in if you think people are overpaying on property? The only reason a corporation would buy over market is because if they understand the return on the market that the seller doesn't understand. If I looked at a property and I saw it was listed for $200 and I knew it was 350, 400, then I would overbid because I'm like, well, they're leaving a whole bunch of meat on the bone here. So you're saying people are so stupid in a widespread way that they're selling their $200,000 home. I mean, their $400,000 home for $200,000. Because that's the only way people would overbid. Because then I would do my mathematics and I would figure out how much could I rent it for. And if I could rent it for X amount of dollars and get a return of, say, 10 or 12% annually, then I might overbid. But it's not a regular thing where we just decide, you know what, it's for sale for $200,000. Let's just offer him $250,000, honey. What are you, an idiot? What, do you go to school and get stupid? That doesn't even, then he follows it up. The hourly pay cost of goods ratio isn't good. It was different way back then, and you know it. Parents could have a one-income household with 6 kids and still live the life. You sound like the guy I spoke to earlier. Let me give you a real, it's gonna hurt, a big dose of reality. If you're working and being paid by the hour, you might not be a candidate for a house unless you've saved up a whole lot of money. So you made 2 comments that right there, somebody who knows goes, what is this guy talking about? The hourly pay? Unless you're in a position where you start signing the front of a check, buying a home means you're going to have to save up a whole lot of money, 20%, or if you go FHA, 3.5%, but not, in either way, you're going to have to save money to get that house. See, my perspective is something different. If you'd like to know what my perspective, okay, let me show you what my perspective. I actually have a video. It's like your perfect timing.
Mortgage, if you're worried about it, you shouldn't be. 50-year mortgage is not the problem. Okay, it could be 100 years, whether it's 30 years, 15 years, 30 years, 50 years, 40 years. Pick your number, dude. The problem's not how long the mortgage is. The problem is the investment itself. It's the asset you're putting money in. Okay, look, a house is not an asset. It's a liability. This plane has a better chance of making me money than a house ever does. Because it gets me someplace, right? It gets me someplace, it gets me there fast, it buys time. What does a house do? Okay, maybe over 30 or 40 or 50 years, maybe it appreciates enough to provide you and your family with equity. At best, that's a savings account. But if you took the savings part out of it, added inflation, you'd realize, dude, it's a shitty investment. It's a liability. So don't get all cranked up about it, whether it's 30 years or 50 years or shit, they could do 100 years, okay? It's just a place to live. Don't think that it's going to be a place that makes you money, because it probably won't. And if you do make money on your house, it's because you got lucky. You can say I'm wrong, you can hate on me. Oh my God, it's the American dream. Everybody should buy a house. Everybody should own a house. Oh my God, everybody should be entitled to own a home. You're never going to own it. Okay, you go pay cash for that house right now today. Go pay $440,000 for that little house that looks just like that other house in the same neighborhood. You still have property taxes, you still have maintenance, you got upkeep, you got furniture, you got issues, and it never stops. You got a roof that's going to go bad, gutters that are going to go bad, siding that's going to have to be painted, and it's endless. And heaven forbid that the major employer in your market leaves, and the next thing you know, your house isn't even worth what you paid for. So look, the 50-year mortgage is not the issue. The 50-year mortgage is simply going to make it about $300 less a month. I think every 500 grand, 50 years drops the payment about $300. Again, that's not the issue. Okay, you shouldn't be investing in a home. You shouldn't be buying a home. Okay, particularly on the way up. If you haven't accumulated your wealth yet, what you should be doing is investing your money in your business, in your self-improvement, in things that can go up in value. You should be investing that money that you'd use for a down payment, invest that into something that can grow you, grow your business, or Maybe you invest in somebody else's business because you believe in the player, you believe in the founder, you believe in the direction of the company. There's a handful of great stocks out there that'll always return you more money than your house will. God bless, be great. 50-year ain't the issue.
Somebody else told you that a couple days ago. Somebody else told you, I don't care how long the mortgage is. If you're worried about a 50-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage, you're not a candidate for a home anyway. That you're telling everybody you don't have the reserves to make it work. You're telling everybody you can't pay the insurance, the property taxes, the plumber, like I told you, if the toilet goes or something else. That's just where you live. It is not going to be your investment. When people talk to me, or they talk to people like Grant, that's Grant Cardone, we look at housing as a commodity. It's not for the residents. It's what can this thing do to make us more money? The gentleman who made the comment about, things were different back then, the math be mathin'. The math doesn't matter whether it's 1980 or 2025. It's the simple math problem. Whenever I look at something, Ashley will tell you, sometimes I don't even go look at a property. The very first thing I do is start plugging in the numbers. Can we make any money on this if this looks like the price that they're looking for? I don't really care what you're looking for. I'm going to tell you what we'll pay. And we'll plug in those numbers. I want this much return. It takes this much in repairs. We're going to do this. We want the timing. What's our return? Do you know what the term cash on cash means? I'd love to know if people in the chat, especially Chad, if you know what cash on cash return means. Because that's what we look at. Don't listen to me when I'm talking about buying a house. I'm not talking about moving in. I'm talking about it for an investment. I'm talking about it as a commodity. It's no different to me than silver. And so when you're about to see this movie that we're going to show once Laura does her thing, you're going to see commoditization of real estate at a huge level, a monstrous level. And the reason why you need to see it, because the signs that we're seeing right now are the signs that happened back in 2008. So if people are crying because they can't afford a home, then they can't afford a home. You can't make real estate more inexpensive. You can't make it. And why is that? And regardless of what people think, the boomers, no. It's supply and demand. It's very simple. The house that we are renovating and getting ready to put on the market, I'm going to put at a certain price. At that point, the market is going to tell me what we're going to make. All of my calculations be damned. Once I put it out there, if people pay, fantastic. If they don't bite, I got to drop my price. But I'm not dropping my price so that somebody can afford it. I don't give a shit if somebody can afford it. I want that person who wants it to afford it. This is the kind of stuff that the youngsters don't want to hear. All right, she's begun. Let's roll with it. I'll be back with you guys. All right, we'll be back.
A great ally, BBC. The government has a chunk of that one, I guess, but that's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people
We're actually going to play it right now.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them.
But tonight you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people to do that. I couldn't allow 60 Minutes. You know, we settled that one for many millions of dollars, and I couldn't have allowed that to take place. They changed the answer that Kamala gave. They took out the entire answer and they put another answer in. The first answer was election defying. The second answer was not good, but it wasn't a disaster. And they actually did that. They never did it with me.
Which Democrats should Republicans be most worried about going forward in 2028, perhaps?
Well, I wouldn't want to say, because that gives that person an immediate boost. It's like when they say, are you going to attack Venezuela? Are you going to attack this one? Are you going to attack? Yeah. I say, I'm not going to tell you whether or not I am. So I don't want to really give you. But I think this. We are doing phenomenally well. This is the greatest economy we've ever had. Their talking points, oh, course are high, course are high. By the way, the only thing is beef. Beef
coffee
is a little high because the ranchers are doing great. Coffee, we're going to lower some tariffs. We're going to have some coffee come in. We're going to take care of all this stuff very quickly, very easily. It's surgical. It's beautiful to watch. But our costs are way lower. Now, Walmart came out with a statement that they do every year for many, many decades. And they said that a Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less this Thanksgiving, coming up, think of that, than it did last Thanksgiving under Sleepy Joe Biden. That's a 25% reduction. I think that's right. And if you remember when I first came in, the first 2 days I had a news conference, eggs, they were hitting me with eggs. Eggs had quadrupled in price. And they're screaming at me. They say, I just got here. I didn't know about eggs. And Brooke Rollins, our agricultural commissioner, secretary, did a great job. And now eggs are what they were. We got eggs down. We get it all down. But our prices are much lower. Their line is price is affordability. That's the new word, affordability. It's much less expensive under Trump. And I haven't been here long. 9 months is not a long time. But look at what I've done to energy. Look at the price of gasoline. Going from $4.50 to $2.50 or $2.70, it's going to be $2 gasoline.
People want affordable.
Well, the economy is my thing, and we have the greatest economy in history.
So are Republicans not selling it enough?
Yes, the Republicans don't talk about it.
Yeah, so they need to do a better job on Capitol Hill.
The Democrats give false talk, and the Republicans, and I say it all the time, Republicans have to talk about the fact that prices are down. The Walmart thing is very important. When Walmart says a Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less under Trump than under Biden, to me, that's better than.
So Republicans need to spend more time talking about how great the country is and less time complaining about the Democrats?
We have potentially the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have, again, Biden did in just a short period of time. Biden couldn't raise anything. No investment. I think investment went out of our country. I'm now at almost $18 trillion in 9 months. That's the biggest in the history of the world. China's never done it, never done anywhere near that. And all that money is coming in. It's investment. It's building auto plants. It's building AI plants. By the way, we're leading China by a lot on AI. We have potentially the greatest, already it is. But we have, when these things open up, there's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that mean
the Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
We have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll
give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
And coming up, Donald the Designer, my exclusive tour of the White House renovations with the president. Next.
All right, so she hit on something again. By the way, I hope you're noticing, and I've never seen her do it before. She's been on the air for many years. She's very professional. She understands what she's doing. I'm finding something weird. I saw it last night. Ashley pointed it out as well. She's reading. Every so often, you will see her look off to the left as if she's reading a script of questions. And it's a little bit odd because she's normally not like that. She usually can just talk and converse. Even if she had some notes, she should be able to look at a note and come up with a question. But that one thing that everybody is hitting on that is causing people to be pissed off is the workers. And yes, we do need American workers. We need American workers who can do the jobs technologically, manufacturing that we need them to do. The problem is we have a void of people who have been trained. Not because they're not good enough, is because they haven't been trained. The colleges and universities have screwed these kids for a generation. They want to be baristas instead of learning how to be riveters or an assembly line or understanding the tech to program something. I remember when the whole term, learn to code was something, and people used to get upset because, we would say learn to code, but it was actually a direction where we were headed. Right now, if you have children that are coming into the labor force, you better make sure that their viability, that they know that their viability depends upon their ability to enter the workforce and be able to hit the ground running. Nobody is going to take the time at this point to do an entry-level position in a data center. How can we even expect at this point people who are owning these companies to bring on people who don't know how to do the work? I can't set my business back while you get up to speed. You need to be hired and on the floor doing what it is that you do tomorrow. Show up tomorrow, 9 o'clock, do what you need to do. Not, hey, show up tomorrow at 9 o'clock and we're going to spend 30 days training you how to do this job. That's not going to happen. Now, think of that at this point. I've spent $10, $20 million building out this factory. I'm ready to open and I need 50 or 100 people to run it. And I start taking resumes and these blue hairs with nose rings and everything. Hey, have you ever run this XYZ machine? No. So you don't know how to do this work? No. And I talked to this other guy who might speak a different language and you know how to run it? Yes. Who am I going to hire? It'd be different if the person in the blue hair who's competing against the guy from someplace else, if the person with the blue hair and the nose ring said, yeah, I can do that. All right, well, show me. Show me that you can do the work. While we have that problem right now where there's not enough people to do the work, how is business supposed to continue when there's not enough people to do the work? I don't know. And that's what's the problem, because they just expect you to hire people who don't know what the hell they're doing. Our colleges have failed a legion of kids who don't know anything about except to protest, and I don't even know what they study anymore. As I'm doing this show tonight, and I showed that from Grant Cardone, and I'm talking to you about using different formulas and things and how to understand what your cash-on-cash return is. If I said that to some kids coming out of college, they would just stare at me. Hey, listen, you can come work for our real estate company, and we're looking for you to go find deals for us and do the underwriting. And when you do the underwriting, make sure you come back to me with a statement that says, here's what I think it's worth, here's what I think we can sell it for, here's what the return would be. And then watch them glaze over. Like, what? All right, she's back. Let's see here.
News with this interview, and once it wrapped, the president was gracious enough to give us an exclusive tour of the new White House renovations. Now, it was starting to get dark, it was late in the day, but we still got a good sense of how things will look, including the new ballroom. Now, warning, Democrat heads will explode in 3, 2, 1.
From here to there, and it'll seat a proper number of people, and the White House will finally have, after 150 years, the ballroom that they wanted. You know what? They've waited 150 years, and the public is paying for nothing. The public is paying for absolutely nothing. It's all being done by donors. All the way over to there, it'll be beautiful. One of the most beautiful in the world. Come on. Okay? You know, a lot of people don't know that. They don't say that there's no cost. That's some room in there.
That's unbelievable.
Now I'm going to show you. So this is the Presidential Walk of Fame.
Now, whose idea was this?
My idea. Everything's my idea.
Everything's your idea. Okay.
Sadly.
Who's that guy?
That's Barack Hussein Obama.
Okay.
This is Biden right here.
Wait a second. The
president.
profile of Biden.
So he's the worst president in the history of our country, and Barack Hussein Obama is top 5, meaning bad.
Are you going to replace that with his actual photo?
No, I don't think so. Look at the faces on these people. Those are serious faces, right?
Oh, that's for sure.
Every one of them's a tough cookie.
Do you think these will stay up after you've left office?
Well, I think they should. On the bottom here, this hasn't been put yet. They're being made. We have a plaque that goes about that describes in a couple of hundred words. Mm-hmm. Important, right?
Yeah, very important.
And they're beautiful, beautiful bronze plaques. Goes up under each picture describing. Look at the scene over here, fellas. Look, how beautiful is that? Come on over here, take a look.
This is the new Rose Garden. But
and now you can have news. That's the same stone as the White House. So now you can have news conferences. You can, nobody could stand in the mud.
Where did you get the stone?
Different places.
Different places?
Yeah.
Why was
But I'll show you something. This is the equivalent of what I do with the ballroom. I built many ballrooms and many buildings, and that's my greatest strength. Actually, I might as well do this. So this room was in terrible shape. This was done by Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy Onassis, then Jackie Kennedy, I hope. And she took this area, it's called the Palm Court, and here we had one by one little tiles that were all broken, cheap, out of a box. Mm-hmm. The walls weren't good. We took it, I restored it. I put in new chandeliers. They had lanterns that were terrible.
I remember this room.
Yeah, it was a nothing room. Yeah. It was an embarrassment.
There was a seat, a bench right underneath there. Yeah.
To come to the Oval Office, you had to go through this room. It was an embarrassment, okay? Mm-hmm. And I took it down and rebuilt it. Same as she had it, but at a much higher level. And take a look at the floor. Take a look at the marble. So this is called...
It is really pretty.
Statuary marble. But look at the book ending. Look at the book match. Look how it matches.
That's tough to do.
No, it's very tough. You don't get it. If it's 1/8 of an inch off, it's no good.
Is that brass? The brass?
That's two brass strips. Mm-hmm. But even if you look at the air conditioner vent, it's book matched.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Who can do that? I can do that because I know that, it's even available that you could do that. Mm-hmm. Very few people can do it. So you take a vent that's supposed to be a piece of aluminum or steel. And the marble man said, I said, do you think you could book match a vent? He said, yeah, look at the other one over there. Book match. But look at the quality of that job.
Where do you think you developed the attention to architectural detail? Like, at what age did you start realizing that's what you could do?
Yeah, I was involved with my father in building and all this stuff, and my father was a builder. So as a little boy, I'd be sitting there playing with blocks, I guess, and my father would be on the phone, and I'd be listening, I guess. And, you listen. I had a father who was very good at building. He was very good at building things, and so am I. I build better than anybody else. Nobody can build like me.
But was his...
You can ask Steve Witkoff. Who is the best builder? He will tell you.
Did your dad have the same attention to the specific details that you did?
Well, he built low, moderate income houses.
So it was a different type of build.
So he didn't have to do a floor like this. He'd do a floor out of tile, linoleum at the time they used to call it. Mm-hmm. And it would be a different kind of a thing. But he had a tremendous attention to quality. In other words, if it's going to be even, a regular floor, it would be exactly even, exactly straight. It would fit perfectly. But when you look at that job. Nobody's ever seen it.
Do any of your kids have that same delicate attention to detail that you have? Because that's kind of, you can't really teach that.
I think they do. I think Eric is very good. Don, in a very different way, is good. Ivanka is, Tiffany's very smart. She was a great student, always a great student. They're all great students. Actually, they're all great students. And I think Barron's going to be tremendous at that. Yeah, he's very meticulous.
Is he here?
He is. He's here. Oh. He's right upstairs. Want to see him?
Studying, yeah. I'd love to see him.
He's doing a good job. He's tall.
A lot of people
He's
think
a tall one.
A lot of people think he could be the next Trump president.
I don't know. I think.
Or a lot of people are wondering which child would be the best.
In a certain way, they all could. Take a look at this, fellas. You want to see detail. So, like this sign. Most people would just do a sign they painted on the wall. So that's half-inch thick bronze, carved by a very talented person. And it's brass. It's pure brass. It's half-inch thick brass. And you can't just do that. That's, you look at that, that's quality, right? And then we start with George Washington and we go down to Trump. Pretty cool, right?
Where are your speakers? Because I heard this.
All here.
They're in the bushes?
They're all here.
When did you decide you were a frustrated DJ? How long ago was that?
I don't do that much, but I think having good sound is important because we do now news conferences on this space. As you know, you were probably a victim to it. You'd stand in the grass, your high heels would be ruined. The women are, walking out without. So I had to make it a hard surface. So I made it the same color as the White House itself, which worked out great. We just moved the tables. This over here was actually taken out of the East Wing.
Oh, is that right?
This was done by this was carved.
Oh, yeah, that was Borgham.
By the carver who did Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, beautiful.
And this was taken from the East Wing. We took all the good stuff.
Okay, I've been to the White House I don't know how many times. I didn't know most of that. I was fascinated by it. And the attention to detail is, I don't care what you say, you like it, you don't like it. Okay, he has enormous talent. I thought it was really cool. Anyway, coming up, Kamala still cannot get over her election loss. Plus, who's kissing Jasmine's feet? Jimmy Fallon has it all.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that idiot who kissed Jasmine's feet. So she's done with talking to President Trump. I love how he's got that attention to detail, that very specific stuff that he was showing her things that most people won't ever understand. So I'm going to get ready to jump over because I don't want the movie to be too late. I know some of you guys have to get your beauty sleep. So let's go ahead and get ready to indeed jump over there. Let me go ahead and put it up, the banner for Rumble. Hold on, let me put it up. What number is it again? Oh, here it is. So you guys can get over there. But just a couple things I wanted I got to go over before we jump there because it's important based upon what you're going to see. One of those things that I wanted to tell you about is this here. This came out. It says I said I'm going to solve the first-time home buyer problem right now. If you're looking to buy a home, or especially your first home, and you have limited credit and a limited down payment, only buy a house in the red areas below. Problem solved. If you don't want to move, well, piss off and leave the rest of us alone. So this is a image of the cost of living ranking by state. And everybody wants to live in New York or come down here to Florida. Those are on the right side, and they're very unaffordable. Look at them. California, New Jersey, Hawaii. You can't live there if you want to be a first-time home buyer for the most part. However, Arkansas, Mississippi, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Louisiana, North Dakota, Iowa, West Virginia, Kansas, Alabama. Top 10 affordable places in the country. Move there. Go get yourself a house there. Set your stake in the ground and say, I'm going to live here for 5 years. That's the biggest problem these people are having, is they think that they can keep up with the Joneses and buy in an area that they can't afford. They have to swallow a huge pill and say, I am not good enough. I am not there yet. Doesn't mean you're stuck. Just means right now with your finances, you can't afford a home here. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just means that you cannot afford, based upon your credit and your resources, to buy a home in some of these areas. A lot of good people in those other 10 states. You should go look at it. And so I saw this by a long post by Savannah Hernandez. Love her work. She's always out doing videos and everything, and she's talking about, I haven't talked about this, but I became a first-time home buyer owner this year. I had to move to a completely different city for 2 years just to save for my down payment because I couldn't do so while I'm still paying rent in the city I was living in. I was only able to do this because I work remotely. Most Americans, especially those that are stuck in specific city for work, do not have this luxury. True. I am blessed enough to have multiple streams of income, and buying and saving for this home would not have been possible with just one. You can see the rest of it later because I want to jump to the movie. But there's a problem in what she says, and it's a problem that many young people are impacted by. She said I. She said I a couple times, as you can see in this thing. First sentence, I. Second sentence, I. Third sentence, I. Fourth sentence, I. Fifth sentence, my. See, that's another problem. She's a great journalist and she does great work, but that's the problem with young people right now. And what do you mean by problem, Barry? Well, in 1980, back when us boomers were doing stuff, only 26% of home buyers were single. Let that sink in. The boomers who were buying houses in 80, 85, 74% of them were married. Only 26% weren't married. And that number even goes less when you're talking about single women. You see, the part that the young people are having a problem with is you've been told you don't need a significant other. You don't need a husband. You don't need a man. You do it yourself, girl. That has been a huge problem in our economy and our country. People thinking they could do it themselves. I bet almost every single one of you, when you bought your first home, more than likely you were a couple. You were married. Ashley was. You were with somebody else. We can't turn back the clock. I can't get back in the DeLorean and go back 30 or 40 years. I can't do it. They got to do it on their own. They have to learn that what they've been taught and what has been fostered in the school systems is killing them. They're not having children. I mean, they're not getting married. They're not having children. They're not promulgating wealth. And they're blaming us. And we've been telling them, you got to go ahead and get married, settle down, get married. And now the average home buyer age is 61. Why do you think that is? My. There's nobody else there. There's nobody to help. There's nobody to lean on and say, hey, we got to get a new air conditioning unit. We need to build a fence. We need to paint. We. They kept saying that the familial unit wasn't necessary and it was poison, especially in the black community. And it was intentional. And so if you want to go up the ladder quickly, you can go down to the gas station and buy a lottery ticket twice a week or so. Maybe Powerball will help you out. Other than that, you either got to get yourself marketable so that your income can raise, or perhaps get a partner. Get a partner that will be your life coach, who will be there for you all the time and has the same ideology and says, we need to buy a house, honey. We need to do this. We need to do that. Or don't. But either way, it's not my fault, and it's definitely not your fault. I am not going to shoulder that burden of younger people not being able to buy homes because they weren't taught to do what we did. And now they're sitting here in 2025 going, we're toast. You might be. You absolutely might be. but you're not stuck. If you're toast, it's because of your own doing. You can unwind that right now. You can start living within a budget. I need my phone. You get a flip phone. You don't need the subscriptions to, Prime Video. You don't need the subscription to Paramount. Consolidate. What do I need to do? I need to cut out everything, including my weaves and my eyelashes and everything else, because I am going to bank right now. I am going to bank for the next 5 years. I don't care if I look ugly. Maybe somebody will love me. We can get married. But I'm going to do what I need to do to put a bankroll together so that I can buy a house. It's an easy recipe. But they don't want to do what's necessary, and they're blaming us. Right now, anybody can buy a house. If you have the credit and you have the down payment, which only needs to be 3%. So let's make sure. I've been telling you about this FHA program for quite some time. 3.5%. On a $200,000 house, you're talking about $7,000. And if you can't save up $7,000 in 12 months to buy a home, then you're not doing the right job. Or if you have a girlfriend, maybe get married. Maybe dad'll do a dowry and hook you guys up with about $7,000. Stop blaming us. I don't want to hear it. And I'm also telling you that giving away the free houses to people is not going to help whatsoever. Fannie Mae's new policy, 3 policy changes are kind of sus. Lenders get relief for the undisclosed mortgage debt, non-mortgage debt. If a borrower has credit cards, personal loans, or other debts they don't disclose, and the desktop underwriter approves the loan, then Fannie Mae will buy it. Risk is shifted from the banks to Fannie Mae, otherwise known as you and me. Number 2, credit and income documentation can be up to 18 months old on construction to perm loans. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. Lot can change in 18 months. And the minimum credit score requirements are being removed. And I like what somebody said. Oh boy, here we go again. Here we go again. You're about to see what everyone like me has been talking about. Here we go again. And after you see this movie, I hope you enjoy it. Like I said yesterday, there's a couple scenes that are kind of raunchy, some nudity. I feel like I'm being a critic. It's some nudity and swearing because there's lots of money involved. So gird your loins and understand that, and we'll be okay. It's a good movie. It'll if you haven't seen it, it's going to warn you as to what could potentially happen, because it looks exactly the same way as it did in 2008. And on the other side of the coin, if nothing else, it may teach you something about finance. You see, I like to do things where I learn. And there are so many nuggets in this movie. I like how they do their third-party performances. They'll be talking to the camera, and they'll look at the camera and explain something. And those nuggets, when they do that, when they look away and say, yeah, they're telling you information, because it is so high-level stuff that most people wouldn't be understanding. So they made it fun. They made it, interesting. And basically, most of it actually happened the way they portrayed it. So let me go ahead and do super chats before we jump over to it. And then there won't be any music. We're going to go right to the actual movie. You guys can see it. So let me get super chats. I see a lot of people moving over already. That's perfect. Let me go here. So as soon as I do the jump over, the music will be playing, and then the break music will be playing, and then I'll start the movie right up. So get over there now in advance if you can. What number is this one? Okay, it's right here. And I'll be right here. Rumble's different with the comments than YouTube. I'm not going to put the comments on screen because that would hurt people's enjoyment. All right, here we go. We will not be silent. Barry, what are the song titles and artists on the after party music? I just got that's nothing but Music Bank. I went to Artlist artlist.io and just downloaded a bunch. I put beach music in, and it just those just showed up. KRO Buddha bada boom. Yeah, exactly. Susanna, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Yep, thank you all you guys. I never served. My dad did. Kenneth Vincent, should I sell my stock? I lived through 2008. I'm never going to tell you what to do with your stock or any of your assets, but you may want to begin looking this movie. Look at the parallels. When you watch this movie, tell me if you're not seeing the exact same mistakes being made. That should tell you something. Plus, I don't even know what your stock is. Fume Drummer, if you need a 50-year mortgage or a 7-year car loan, you can't afford it. Sort of like Obamacare. Oh, it's how is it the Affordable Care Act if you can't afford it? Kevin Tate, love the music selection. Would appreciate T-Rex or Slade. All right, bang a gong, baby. Fume Drummer, with school and property taxes, does anyone ever actually own their homes? Yeah, that's another. I can show you. Yeah, you can do that. By the way, down here, they're looking to do away with property taxes. Fakospi, happy Tuesday to you. Refined taste to perfection. Leon Combs, North Dakota is a real affordable place to live. I tried other places and moved back to ND to get out of debt. Now I own my own home and I'm single. Very well. Tania, Barry, you seriously a wealth of good info. Thank you very much. I'm glad you said that. And Melvin Blodgett, my father rarely talked about being in World War II. We lived near each other, and these vets had support. Please love and support our vets. Absolutely. All right, everybody. I am going to play the break, and when the break comes back, we will be on Rumble.